Hello, Christopher.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Hi, my name's Miranda. Nice to meet you too. Thanks for taking time of your day to meet with me.
Yeah, definitely.
Why don't we have a seat and talk about what brought you in today?
All right.
So, I know we talked briefly on the phone, but could you just go into a little more detail why you came in?
Yeah, I'm concerned about a few things, mostly my body weight. I'd like to figure out a few ways to get my body weight up. Of course, I'd like some stronger bones. Everybody's concerned about that. And I'm also worried about my memory and didn't know if there was some nutritional things I could change to help that out.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad you came in with those concerns. We can definitely take a look at some things you can do to fix those. Let me see here. So, since this is our first session, I'm going to have you sign this consent form. This is just, HIPAA. I can't share information with anyone unless you tell me to release it to your doctor. So you can just fill that out really quick and then we can get started. Thank you. All right. So I just want to collect a little bit more information about what a typical day is like for you. So if you could just start and go over from the moment you wake up in the morning to what you eat and then up until you go to bed at night.
Okay. I work a pretty busy schedule, so to be completely honest, I wake up and a lot of times, I'd say about 75% of the time I skip breakfast. And if I do have breakfast, it's usually either just a small thing, like a little bit of cereal or oatmeal.
Do you have milk with that cereal?
I do, yeah.
And you said oatmeal?
Yeah.
Do you drink any caffeine?
Yes, I drink a lot of caffeine.
Okay, how many cups do you think a day?
2 to 3, and probably twice a week I have a 5-hour energy.
Okay.
Which is equivalent of 1 cup of caffeine.
All right, and that when you do have breakfast, that's about what you have.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah.
Okay. What about lunch?
Lunch, I'd say 50-50. Sometimes I pack chips and a granola bar and something sweet, like a Nutter Butter or something. Sometimes I do go out and eat. I'd say that's probably about 10 to 15% of the time. And then the other times I do skip lunch, or I'll just have a granola bar or a bag of chips, something pretty small.
Okay, so when you say you go out to eat, do you mean like fast food or?
Yeah, it's always fast food or, like a taco truck or something quick on the road. It's never really a sit-down thing.
All right. So if you had to say out of 5 days a week, let's say the common work week, how many days do you think you actually eat a lunch versus not?
I'd say I work 6 days a week, so I'd say about 3 to 4.
You do eat lunch
I do,
3 to 4
yeah.
times. Okay. Do you ever have snacks throughout the day, or is it basically like lunchtime? Do you get a lunch break at all?
No, I don't get a lunch break. I just eat on the go. Yeah, I'd say more times than not, probably about 80% of the time, I at least have some kind of snack, be it a little bag of nuts or some chips or granola bar.
Gotcha. Okay, what about dinner? What's a typical dinner like for you?
Dinner is usually pushed back pretty late, around 8 to 10. And that varies widely. Sometimes I'll have a pretty balanced meal with, some rice and some meat and some side like a vegetable. And sometimes it's just a can of soup or some top ramen or something really not nutritionally valuable.
What kind of meat do you eat when you make meat?
I'd say I like ground beef. Sometimes I have chicken. Sometimes I have fish. I'd say when I have meat, it's mostly ground beef.
Okay, and what kind of vegetables do you like to eat?
Oh, I love cauliflower. I like asparagus. I like green beans, broccoli. My girlfriend is actually a vegetarian, and she's turned me on to a lot of vegetables that I might not have otherwise tried.
Well, that sounds like she's a good influence on you, huh?
Yeah, definitely, I'd say so.
Does she eat enough meat too, or have a meat
She
substitute?
Does not eat meat.
And you're not vegetarian, correct?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I like meat, but I like tofu, which is something she's turned me on to, and she does eat that quite often. I'd say probably 1 to 2 nights a week we'll have a tofu meal with a vegetable.
Awesome. So, what about nighttime snacks? Do you ever have like ice cream or a yogurt after dinner or a glass of milk?
After I eat dinner, pretty much I don't eat.
Okay.
I'd say it's very rare that I eat. But I mean, sometimes I have a dessert, but that's immediately following dinner. And I'd say that's about half of the time.
I gotcha. Okay. Okay, let me see here. Do you have any allergies to any foods that would prevent you from implementing certain ones to your diet?
Yes, I have had an allergy to shrimp my whole life, but I have not been tested for it in the last 5 to 10 years.
So like a shellfish allergy?
Yeah, it's all shellfish actually. And then I used to have a almond allergic or allergy, but that has since waned.
All right. Is there any food that you just don't like to eat that you wouldn't want to try?
I don't like peas.
Okay. Well, you're not alone. A lot of people don't like peas.
That is actually what I hear.
Okay. And do you drink alcoholic beverages or smoke tobacco?
Yeah, I drink alcohol probably once to twice a week. And I'd say out of those once to twice, one of them's more heavy and the other's more moderate.
Okay. I think that's pretty normal for someone your age, so definitely no concerns there. Does your intake on weekends differ than that when you're working?
Yes, definitely. Like I said, I work 6 days a week, so Saturday is just another day. But Sundays, I would definitely say I eat a lot more. I definitely almost all the time have a breakfast, but it is usually around 11 or so. So it is.
So it's
pretty
like
much,
a brunch.
Yeah, it's pretty much an early lunch. But I would say I do eat a few more snacks, and I do have. I mostly always have a three meal.
Good, good. Okay. So taking a look at your intake here, we definitely need to work on breakfast. Would you say that'd be one of your goals, is to eat more?
That is my goal and one of my biggest weaknesses.
Okay. Yeah, it looks like you really don't get that much dairy or protein in your daily meals. Your dinners look pretty good. We might not want to be eating at 10 p.m.
Yeah.
But we can work on that. Have you ever considered meal prepping?
I have. Part of the thing with meal prepping is it has to be something that I can eat on the go because I drive.
Okay.
And it has to be something that stays good. You know, I can't quite just make a sandwich because it gets soggy at night and things like that.
Gotcha. Okay. So ideally, what would you want your lunch to look like?
I mean, most of the time when I pack a good lunch, it's 2 sandwiches with meat, cheese, and a dressing. Usually it's a cheese stick, a bag or 2 of chips, a granola bar. Well, that's about it, I guess.
That's pretty good.
But that's my.
Especially the cheese stick, you're getting some dairy in there and a little bit of protein. And the granola bar is definitely good too. It has some fiber.
A protein shake.
Oh, a protein shake?
Yeah. When I have them on hand, I almost always bring one.
That's definitely good to bring with you too.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, based on the information you gave me earlier before we met, it looks like you actually should be consuming a little bit more calories, between like 1,878 to 2,191.
Okay.
I do think you're a little shy of that right now, so maybe we could just go over some ways you can implement more calories into your breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and maybe go over a way that you could meal prep that, and then we can talk about your other concerns about memory and the bone health too.
Yeah,
okay?
Absolutely.
Does that sound good?
Definitely.
Okay. And I can make a copy for this for you too.
Yeah, I'd like that.
Okay. Have you heard of My Plate before?
I've not.
Okay, My Plate is like this government program basically, and it goes over what the dietary guidelines for Americans are. So this is almost what you need to be following anyway, because it's a 2,000 calorie diet, and what you need to be consuming is just around there.
Okay.
So they say every day you should get 2 cups of fruit, which I didn't see a lot of fruit. And
Yeah.
Do you like fruit?
I like fruit. I definitely say I eat more vegetable than fruit. I just don't have the time and place for it, I guess.
Yeah. Would you be opposed to eating like an apple?
I don't like
lunch?
eating apples off the core, but I would,
Okay.
once again, falls under meal prep. I'd be absolutely down to cut up an apple and bring it along.
What about pears or peaches? Do you like any of those?
I like peaches, but I don't like peaches.
You
I don't like this. I don't like the skin. I don't like eating them.
Yeah.
Eating them. And I feel like cutting them up is not super viable. There's other ones that I lean towards more, like grapes or apples.
Yeah, grapes would be good too. That's a good idea. And I don't think they'd go bad. You don't cut them like you cut
No,
an
yeah.
apple. So, I mean, even if you did want to cut an apple into pieces, you could bring some peanut butter or something that's some protein and some fat. You could dip it in.
Yeah.
That'd be a really good snack. I don't know how hard that would be for you to eat driving, but
Yeah.
I mean, Of course, it'd be easier to just eat it off the rind, but I know that's not very convenient either. So you could also maybe bring, if you like blueberries or raspberries, in like a little container or a baggie too.
I do, yeah, that's a good idea. I've thought about that, but need to implement it.
Okay, so going on with vegetables, you're supposed to get 2.5 cups a day. Just sounds like some days you do with the asparagus
Yeah.
and the cauliflower and stuff. Do you eat it cooked, or what's like the method you usually prepare that?
It's almost always cooked. I've experimented with broccoli that's just raw with a little bit of ranch, but obviously me and my girlfriend both prefer it cooked.
Yeah.
I fell
Do
off
you
on
usually steam it, or is it on stove, or is it in the oven? Like,
We almost always steam it. We steam
That's
broccoli,
good.
yeah, and then we cook cauliflower in oil with some seasonings, things like that. Same as asparagus.
nice. What do you know? What kind of oil you guys use?
Yeah, we use a lot of vegetable oil. She likes olive oil.
Yeah, olive oil is definitely the better choice. But vegetable oil is also good too. Okay,
I think we use a blend of canola now and again as well.
gotcha. Yeah, those are still going to be better than using like butter or margarine. So that's
Yeah.
definitely, you're on the right track there. Do you ever drink, going back to fruits? I just thought of this. Do you drink fruit juices ever? Orange juice, apple juice?
Pretty rare. I like it, but everything we do is frozen, like a concentrate versus like freshly squeezed or anything like that.
Would you be opposed to, maybe bringing some to work and like a water bottle or something?
I would
That'd be a
not
good
be
way to get
opposed to
some
it.
carbohydrates, some fruit juice, and yeah.
I'm not opposed to it, but I've heard that a lot of fruit juices are not necessarily a good thing. It's just a lot of sugar and it's really processed. So I'd be worried about choosing the right one.
Gotcha. Are you familiar with reading labels?
Yeah, I mean, I'm familiar with reading it, not as much deciphering it.
Gotcha. Well, I do believe now they're putting like added sugar as its own category on the back of the label. So if you look on the back, you can see total sugars, added sugars, and maybe choose one that just is lower in sugar. I think in your case, vitamin C fortified orange juice with vitamin D2 would be good for your bones, and just look for like fortified fruit juices, and they would be really good for building the muscles and the bones too. Okay, going on down here, we're going to talk about grains. It sounds like you get some grains, but do you know if you eat white bread or whole grain bread?
I'd say most of the time I either eat honey wheat bread or whole grain wheat bread.
That's good.
Most of the time it's going to be honey wheat, not super grainy, but back and forth between those two.
Nice. Do you ever eat like whole grain pasta or brown rice?
Not brown rice, not whole grain pasta. We do eat a lot of couscous. We do eat a lot of like rice pilaf, and things like that, kind of a mix.
What about protein here? So you're supposed to be getting 5.5 ounces of protein a day. Sounds like you might be a little shy of that.
I
So
think
for 1 ounce would be 1 ounce of canned or cooked meat like poultry or fish would be the equivalent to 1 egg, 1 tablespoon of peanut butter, or a 4th cup of cooked beans, or I guess we're not going to do peas, so I'm not even going to say that one for you, or a 1/2 ounce of nuts or seeds. I know you said you used to be allergic to almonds, but do you eat other nuts like peanuts or walnuts or pistachios?
I like pistachios, but I don't have them a lot. And I would say I definitely eat peanuts the most.
Yeah.
But really that's it. And they're a little far in between.
Yeah. I know that they sell pistachios without the shells on them too. And you
That
could
would
make your
definitely
own
help.
trail mix. I know they sell pre-made ones, but if you don't want the almonds in it, you
Yeah.
can potentially buy ones you do like and mix them together, maybe with some dried fruits, like I don't know if you like prunes or raisins or dates.
That is a really good idea because I feel like it cross-references a few different categories.
Yeah, that would definitely be something good, especially since you drive for a living and don't really have your
Yeah.
hands available a lot. Let's see here. The last category would be dairy. So you should be getting about 3 cups a day of milk. Would be like 1 cup of milk, 1 cup of yogurt, 1 cup of a fortified like soy milk beverage or almond milk, or 1.5 ounces of cheese or natural cheese, or 2 ounces of processed cheese.
Okay.
Does this sound like stuff you would eat or currently eat?
Yes, I love dairy. I
You
eat
like
a lot of
dairy?
cheese. I like cheese and I like milk.
Yeah.
Milk, most of the time I'll drink in stuff, but now and again I do have, a big glass of chocolate milk. Like I said, I do drink protein shakes when I have them, things like that. And I do drink soy milk as well.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Definitely, especially with the cow's milk, that'd be good to drink like 1 cup with dinner, or at least fortified soy milk, so
Yeah.
you know you're getting calcium and vitamin D in it. I think that would help you get more calories too if you're drinking 1 cup at each meal, and also helping you like kind of uptake more nutrients from all the categories here. Did you have any questions about the daily servings?
Yeah, I just had a real quick question.
Sure.
It says 3 cups. Is that one? So 3 cups of protein comes from 1 cup of milk? How does that?
So
what's the 3 cups?
in a day you need 3 cups total.
Mhm.
They're saying like that's like the minimum. So they're saying one of the 3 cups would be like 1 cup of milk. So you could drink 3 cups of milk to equal 3
Okay.
cups, or 1 cup of milk and then a cup of yogurt for lunch or something, kind of like that, or
Okay, that
that
makes
plus the
sense.
cheese. So
Yeah.
usually a lot of people are eating way more than that anyway. So
Yeah.
okay, and this is just another kind of overview of the My Plate, talking about fruits. You can get dried or canned or fresh or frozen. I don't know if you like making smoothies at all, but that's another option too. I don't know how well that would keep. Maybe if you got a thermos for work
Yeah.
or something, it'd be a way to just sip your meal. Obviously, that's not preferred long term because we want you chewing food too, but
Mhm.
for the time being, I definitely think that's the way to get more calories in you. With vegetables, like we said, seems like you're pretty good on those. It's just the consistency that I think we need to work
Yeah.
on. Grains, we could incorporate maybe a little more if we woke up a little earlier to make some sandwiches for work, or maybe made a wrap or something that wouldn't get as soggy as quick as bread.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah, I definitely think that's a good option for you too. Let's see. And for protein, I calculated about roughly what you should be eating per day, protein-wise, and it should be around 50 grams. So I definitely think there's room for improvement there. Whether it be eating eggs for breakfast or taking time to make them beforehand, having a meat for dinner and a meat for lunch, just making sure, even if it's not meat, if it's tofu or some kind of dairy or seafood, even like tuna salad or beans.
Yeah, I like beans. You said I'm supposed to get 50 grams of protein in one day. When I do have the protein shakes, they are 24 grams.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is kind of more a minimum for you,
Ooh.
especially if you like do a lot of physical activity in your day.
Yeah.
That would definitely increase your needs. So I'd definitely be shooting like this as the low end.
Okay.
So definitely drinking that protein shake would be good for you because it's helping you meet that goal. But I think in addition to that, definitely fitting in some other options too would be beneficial for you.
Okay.
All right. And it doesn't sound like you really used a lot of butter or drink a lot of added sugars from any beverages.
That might not be true. I'm told that Gatorades actually do have a lot of sugar, and I do get a soda or a tea or some kind of soft drink at least twice a week. And Gatorades, I would say, are most days, so probably about 4 to 5 days a week.
Okay. The soft drinks, I mean, I'm really not concerned if you're saying only like twice a week. Some people drink it like throughout
Yeah.
the whole day, every day. So,
Yeah.
I mean, unless you think that's something you would like to work on, we could definitely talk about substituting that. Maybe even for a fruit juice, like we
Yeah.
talked about, because at least you're going to get some nutrients out of that. And even if there's some sugar in both beverages, like at least you're getting something out of the good one. The Gatorades, I mean, you probably shouldn't be drinking every day, but if you're working and you're breaking a sweat, I do think it'd be a good option to replenish your electrolytes. So I'm not super concerned. You're not working at a desk all day.
Yeah.
You're out doing like physical activity. So I think that's definitely okay for now.
Okay.
I'm gonna give you this sheet and this sheet to hold on to. Just little
Thank you.
reminders. Okay. So you were talking about having issues with memory. Can you kind of tell me more about that?
Yeah, I definitely feel like it's more short-term memory and just building new memories. I can recall a lot of very specific things from a few years ago to years ago, but I suddenly find myself walking into rooms and not knowing why I'm there. And little things like that, and just saying something and then immediately forgetting about it.
Okay. I mean, to be honest with you, that might be something you want to check with your like primary provider with. But from a nutrition standpoint, there are a lot of studies on omega-3 fatty acids and memory because your brain and your central nervous system use omega-3s for functioning and creating new cells and firing neurons. So do you eat a lot of fish in your daily life or take supplements or anything like that?
On and off, I take omega-3 supplements, mostly off. I'd say probably about once a week to once every 2 weeks. And fish is about the same, about once a week or once every 2 weeks.
Okay. When you do eat fish, how do you prepare it?
I like salmon or tilapia or catfish, and most of the time it comes in a fillet, and I almost always bake it, but sometimes I'll put it on the skillet with just a little bit of oil.
Sounds pretty healthy to me. What's stopping you from making that more often, let's say, instead of making ground beef?
To be completely honest, fish scares me a little bit. I'm not exactly sure. It doesn't change colors as much when it's cooked. There's not a big difference, so I tend to overcook it. And then I'm disappointed.
Gotcha. So, do you have a meat thermometer by chance?
I do.
Okay.
I do.
Okay.
Just got to be more trusting of it.
Well, it's better to be safe than sorry. You don't want to end up with food poisoning. So with that, I could look up later for you and send you an email. The government has this posted list about internal temperatures for fish. And as long as you stick the thermometer in it and it's reaching or a little bit over, definitely should be a little bit over the internal temperature, then you should be good to go. I mean, you should be okay at that point of the internal temperature. Yeah, I definitely think you could benefit from eating more fish, not only from the omega-3 standpoint, but also the protein standpoint. So that's definitely something we can work on in your meal plan, meal prep. So going on, you had concerns about like bone and muscle health.
Definitely. Because I'm such a smaller guy, I do feel like my bones take on more weight when I'm doing strenuous tasks.
Yeah, you're pretty tall. You're 6'2", correct?
Yeah, 6'2". Not as much meat and muscle to give the oomph when I'm lifting heavy things. So that is something I worry about.
Okay. I have this handout for us to kind of go over. The first and foremost thing I want to say is calcium and vitamin D are going to be your two best friends for bone health.
Is what I hear.
Vitamin D helps your body absorb calcium. So right here I have some sources of calcium and vitamin D for you. For calcium, things like milk, which we talked about, maybe drinking a cup at each meal, especially nighttime, some cheeses, yogurt, tofu, which you eat occasionally, salmon, which you said you liked, correct? Yeah. Beans. I try to keep things on this list very basic, so they're not anything hopefully anyone wouldn't like. Fortified cereals, a lot of cereals would be fortified with calcium. You can look on the back label and read that too. Spinach, kale, collard greens, broccoli are all vegetables that you can incorporate for calcium. You should be getting around 1,000 milligrams per day. And like I said on the label on the back, you should see if it has that in there. It will say like either percent of the daily value that's in there, or it will say it in milligrams on the back. But you can definitely look at the back just to check and make sure that it has calcium in it. And for vitamin D, you should be getting 600 IUs per day. And IUs is just kind of like an arbitrary unit. You don't need to worry about that. But it will say on the back of labels too how much is in the product that you're consuming. So you can also get vitamin D from the sun. I don't know how much sun you're getting, especially this time of year with sunlight kind of falling early. So
I get a good amount of sunlight, I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
About 10 to 30 minutes is what you would need for your body to convert it into the active form. Mm-hmm. So if you're getting that, you should be good, but you can never fail to get it out of cheese, eggs, fortified milk or juices. I don't know if you like mushrooms or not. And then again, like fatty fish like tuna or salmon.
Okay.
Yeah. So in addition to these two nutrients, to build lean muscle, it would involve like 3 main macronutrients, which are like the main ones everyone talks about: protein, carbs, and healthy fats. Protein is used to build the muscles. The carbohydrates are used to fuel the brain and the body during times of exercise, and healthy fats fuel muscles during exercise as well. So some carbohydrate sources that would probably be good for you for building muscles would be fruits like apples, pears, berries, honestly, whatever you like. We talked about making smoothies out
Yeah.
of fruits, which I just thought of too. You could also put like some peanut butter in there. Some people like it, some people don't.
I've done that in the past, actually. I
Yeah.
did that in hemp seeds. Just a
Yeah,
little
hemp
variety.
seeds.
Yeah.
That's very good.
Yeah, my girlfriend actually turned me on to them.
Okay. And there's also cereals. I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory. Cereals, I feel like it's one of the main things people eat for carbs. Brown rice and whole grain breads, which you said you eat whole grain breads. For healthy fats, I don't know if you like avocados, but that's a big one people tend to mention.
Yeah, I'm a love-hate relationship with avocados.
Have you ever tried to make like a smoothie with it? Is it the texture or just the flavor?
A little bit of both. I've never tried a smoothie. Sometimes I like the taste of avocado when it's kind of spiced up and a little bit distracted, but it's definitely a little bit of both.
Well, no pressure. That's not the only option on this list. We also have olive oil, just you could use that
Nice.
while you're cooking, other foods, salmon, mackerel, not almonds since you had an issue with those in the past, but possibly walnuts and pistachios are also sources of healthy fats. For protein, we could do salmon again. Salmon just seems to all around great
Yeah.
guy in this situation. Maybe
Noticing that.
maybe we incorporate him to your diet. Eggs. Do you eat eggs often? I haven't really heard you mention them, except for possibly on Sundays.
Yeah, I do like eggs, but like I said, I don't have a whole lot of time in the morning, so it's almost always on Sundays if I do.
Okay. Do you like hard-boiled eggs?
I get 2 eggs, almost always 2 eggs, and most of the time, 90% of the time, I fry them with a little bit of olive oil, but sometimes I scramble them.
Gotcha. I was gonna say if you did like hard-boiled eggs, you could potentially bring them to work with you.
Yeah.
I know it's probably not the most desirable thing to eat like in the car on the go, but
Yeah, I'm
it's
not a
definitely
big
a way to
fan.
get protein.
Yeah.
So just on weekends, that's good enough for me as long as you're getting other sources of protein throughout the week though. You could also do like chicken, turkey, lean ground beef, peanut butter as we mentioned, black beans, tofu, quinoa, lentils,
Okay.
low-fat yogurt or cottage cheese too.
I like cottage cheese.
Yeah, you should definitely look into buying some of that. Maybe you could eat some with breakfast or probably not lunch since that's kind of a messy item,
Yeah.
but maybe dinner too. So in addition to eating these food groups, you'd also want to implement kind of a low starting range of strength training to build lean muscle. Do you currently have any workout regimen right now?
I used to. I do a lot of heavy lifting and things like maneuvering and squatting for work. We do fridges and stoves and washers and dryers and go up floors of stairs. So I definitely do quite a bit of activity, and
Yeah, it's definitely physical activity. It's not just a
Yeah.
structured workout. It's literally anything in your day. That's why it's called physical activity, not just working out.
it's definitely spread out from beginning to end.
Okay, you said you lift appliances. Is that
Yeah. It's a lot of upper body and shoulder work. Quite a lot of leg work too, I'd say.
okay? Yeah, that definitely counts as a workout. So I don't know if you wanted to do something a little bit more formal exercise-wise, but some options here would be you'd want to start slow, obviously, but 2 or 3 times a week engaged in some strength training activities such as squats. I have some examples here: glute bridges, lunges, push-ups, tricep dips, or donkey kicks. You could also do crunches or use resistance bands or free weights. And you want to do 8 to 10 repetitions and do that for 3 times or 3 sets.
Okay.
You'd want to start slow and then add in more over time. This is just what the American guidelines also recommend for beginning exercise. So we definitely don't want you to like rip a muscle or anything, trying to do more than you can handle right away. But yeah, doing these 2 things combined would definitely help build some lean muscle in you. So if you want to hold on to that sheet, you can bring it
Thank you.
home with you and kind of overview it. Okay, so on the topics we've gone over so far with the memory and implementing more calories and snacks into your kind of daily meal schedule, do you have any specific questions about any of that?
I don't have any specific questions. I just need to build a regime Just kind of write everything down, have a plan, and stick to it. I think that's my biggest thing.
Gotcha. So on the scale of like 1 to 10, how likely do you think you are to consistently have breakfast within the next week? Or make time to make at least something for breakfast that could incorporate possibly like a protein and a carbohydrate and a fat?
On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do I want to, or how have I been?
Both.
How much do I want to? 10. I've definitely been around a 2 to 3. I need to shape up.
Yeah. Is there anything you could maybe do the night before that would make it easier for you to make breakfast in the morning?
Yeah, I definitely need to shower and just lay my clothes out. I think that is a big thing. That could shave off about 15 to 20 minutes.
It's a good idea. I definitely think that would help. Breakfast is the most important meal of the
Yeah.
day, they say.
I
So
know it.
we definitely want to get that in you, especially since it sounds like you're doing a lot of physical activity throughout the day. You don't want to be doing that on an empty stomach. You're going to kind of wear your body out. You don't want to produce too many ketones in your body. That's not going to be healthy for you. You want to have an continuous source of carbohydrates supplied to your body, even if it's just a snack now and then.
Yeah.
Just find a way to get that in you, because you'll definitely feel less fatigued as well. We don't want to overwhelm you trying to fit all this in one day for you. It's not going to happen overnight, but we definitely want to start small and kind of work our way up to hopefully eating breakfast every morning and having more consistent meals. With the dinner situation, is there a reason why you have dinner so late, or is this just more like convenience, or do you get off really late from work?
It's a little bit of all of them. My work hours are all over the place, so sometimes I do get off late and we just get a late start. It's also a lot of habit. We've just done that for so long, it's really hard to break.
Yeah, for sure. What would make that easier for you to have dinner, let's say around like 5 or 6?
I definitely think that if we sat down, or if I sat down and planned most of the meals or got a general idea about what I wanted to eat certain days of the week, it would eliminate some of the guesswork.
Yeah, I definitely think kind of sitting down, having a plan, if not just for a couple days or for the whole week, could definitely help you. And I would definitely try to get like a protein, whether it be like a meat for you or tofu, a side vegetable, as we've mentioned, and a carbohydrate like rice or noodles, pasta. Does that sound good to you?
That does sound good.
Okay. And I also think you should be incorporating more snacks. Like, do you like ice cream or frozen yogurt or something like that?
Yeah.
I think that you should treat yourself a little bit in the evening, get a couple more calories in you, and it's a good source of dairy too. Either that, or if you don't like sweets like that, you could just have some chocolate milk, because I heard you say you liked that earlier.
Yeah.
I definitely think you should continue taking the protein shakes. I wouldn't rely on them solely as like a meal replacement. Maybe you could send me like an email with a picture of what kind, if you know the brand or not.
Yeah.
We can go over the nutrition label on that at our next session, if you're interested in booking a next session.
Yeah, I am.
Okay. Let me see here. Okay, so it looks like our goals for you this week are going to be to potentially, if you're up to it, maybe start doing a little strength training. If not, no pressure. You definitely get a lot of exercise in your daily life. We're going to try to implement more vitamin D, some calcium, overall increase your calorie intake. Try to consistently eat meals throughout the day and implement more snacks as needed. Was there anything else you wanted to mention today?
I think that's about it. I do need to get on that meal prep, really. I think that'd be a big help for me. That's a good idea.
Yeah. So I don't know, maybe this would be helpful for us in the future if you wanted to potentially record like your daily food log, and we could go over it together next week. If you could just try your best to write down like what you consume, so I can get a better idea of kind of what your whole week looks like, and then we could sit down together and kind of further analyze what we still need to work on from there. I think that's definitely a good starting point for us.
I can do that, definitely.
Awesome. Well, it was really nice meeting you, Christopher.
Yeah, definitely. I appreciate you taking the time for me today.
Yeah, thank you so much. Have a great week.
Yeah, you too.